Sophie wants to say, Sala in Indiana Jones is such a joyful and loyal presence. What inspired the way you brought that character to life?
What inspired me? Come on, because I'm an actor. That's my job.
Yes. But I mean, you could have played Sala with such a intimidating factor, but you made him someone lovable and sweet, despite his kind of protective nature.
Well, an actor looks at the script and sees what is needed. This is a note for all you would-be character actors here. You look at the script, and you see how you can serve the script. And serve the script sometimes means serving your fellow actors. In Shogun, for instance, Richard Chamberlain, my dear and late and much lamented Richard Chamberlain, had a problem. He was a passive hero. A passive hero cannot control the pace. And the pace was difficult anyway, because you were dealing with people talking in Japanese. And when people talk in a foreign language, actually you tune out, and you don't really, it drags, even if they're talking very quickly. So what he needed was to have somebody else move the pace along. And that's what I decided that character should do. He should come into a scene with twice the energy and almost over the top. A little bit less than over the top. And have power and energy and move the scene along so that Richard could have time just to underplay. Just to do nothing but score with the eyes and the face and the mood and the That's what he was a master of anyway. And the first day he did it, and I did it, he looked at me very sharply, and then he went, yes, you get it. You need this energy. And that energy would then feed through for 2 or 3 scenes later on. So it helps the whole rhythm of the scene and helps your fellow actor tremendously. With Gimli, Sala, we're talking about
Sala, yes.
Well, the part was written for a 5'2" skinny Egyptian. I was in those days about 6'1", and certainly, well, I wasn't going to use the word porcine, but there was a fair bit of avoirdupois there, Anyway, so when I met Stephen, I said, this is written for a 5'2" skinny Egyptian. I am not that. He said, oh, forget that. What I want is a combination of the character that you played in Shogun and Falstaff, Shakespeare's Falstaff. And that was an interesting idea. I managed to get rid of that fairly quickly. But you create something, I mean, you've got Han Solo, who's doing his first really original big picture that he's going to carry by himself, right? And he's really the hero. How do you help the hero? And you do it by talking to him, by clearly thinking, and by using those moments in the script. They can be comedic. I mean, Indy, why does the floor move, That's very dangerous. You go first. Yeah, and that's comedic, yes. But Sala himself is very dignified character in his own way. And if you think about it, Sala is the only popular Arab character in contemporary culture for the last 50 or 60 years.
That's true.
So he has a lot, he carries a lot with him. Whatever happened to Sala? Well, you know, despite the Indiana Jones 5, what really happened to Sala was he ended up probably looking after a museum in Palmyra. And his name actually was, and I mention this name because this is a real hero, Walid al-Assadi. Walid al-Assadi was 80 years old when which particular, what they call themselves in those days? Anyway, essentially the Taliban or whatever they had in Syria.
Okay.
When they came, they demanded all the valuables so they could sell them. This was the bunch who had blown up the Buddhist statues in the northern part of the country. And al-Assadi had decided that he wasn't going to do that. So he'd hidden all the really important cultural items. And they dragged him out in front of his museum and demanded that he tell them. And he said no. And they said, we will kill you. And he said no. And they made him kneel down and they beheaded him. That is a hero of our times. Anyone who stands for culture, history, the past, and refuses to have it stolen, broken, sold to souvenir collectors, or exported to different countries is a hero.
Yes.
And I give you this.
Sir, we have technically hit our time, but that